Welcome to another Sunday morning conversation, everybody. Today, my guest is Manami Iijima Martin, and she's a pro triathlete from Guam. I had no idea Guam had any pros, and she was quite the interesting find for me, and I enjoyed talking to her. It was definitely different, and learning about the pro life as someone way out in the middle of the Pacific is, I mean, it's nothing short of astounding. She is It's definitely an interesting listen, and I hope you stay tuned. Thanks, everybody.
Hi,
How are you?
good. How are you?
It's another day in life. I don't remember what day it is. I just go by the calendar alerts that go off my Alexa, which is a godsend. I love it.
Yeah. What time is it over there?
8 p.m.
Oh, 8 p.m. Okay.
What's the weather like in Guam? Is this just like all breezy island and like 80 degrees year round?
More like it says like around 88, 89 degrees, but the feel weather is 90, 100 sometimes, and humid like 70% and up.
When you were telling me you were on some other islands a couple weeks ago, um, the thought did occur in my mind that um, is there enough roads there to do like even a long ride? From what I understood, they're not really that big of islands.
Okay. Yeah, the internet's on and off this week, so
That
I'm hoping we
sucks.
get this.
But what I asked you,
Yeah.
are you able to do long rides on the islands? Or do you have to do like 10 loops?
Yeah, it's like loops, but you can get like 70 miles around the island, staying on one road, basically.
Okay. Is it the only road on the island by any chance? Is like just a giant mountain
Oh
in the
no,
middle, you have to
there's
stay on the outside?
there's a couple more roads, but like there's one main road that goes around the island and everyone's on it basically. And then there's little roads here and there.
I, you know, Being all the way in Guam, I don't know what the triathlon scenes are like, but how did you get into all this? I mean, it just feels like, that's one of those places that's very remote and not really, I don't know if there's a triathlon culture or anything or not, because there's no branded 70.3s and stuff like there. You have to travel.
Mhm.
How did this all happen?
So I started off running just to um, kind of get healthy and fit. And there was a professional triathlete that randomly moved to Guam from another neighboring island called Saipan. And I saw her doing triathlons, and I was like, oh, what's triathlon? And I found that there's a small, super close triathlon community on Guam. And so I just jumped into an aquathon and got a bike, and yeah, it was pretty fun. There's a small community compared to everywhere else in the world, but everyone's very friendly and welcoming, and they kind of helped me get to where I'm at.
I just have so many questions. It's mainly because I just don't know anything about Guam. I really don't. I mean, I don't even know if I could pick it out on the map other than it's somewhere like below the equator in the Pacific. Is that right?
Above the equator.
See, I'm already wrong.
Um, above the equator, it's about 3 hours south of Japan, um, close to Philippines.
Do you get a lot of Japanese tourists like, they do in Hawaii?
Yeah, we have, well, not right now because of all the pandemic stuff, but we're slowly opening back. We have a lot of tourists from Korea and Japan.
The south one, right? Not the north one. They're not allowed to leave.
Which one?
You get to the Koreans from the south side, not the north side,
Oh,
right?
yeah, not the north side, just the south. Yeah.
So, tell me your logistics plan for your average race when you have to leave Guam. I don't know if it varies from place to place. I don't know if you have a favorite place you like to race.
Well,
Enlighten
it,
me what it's like for you
um,
to. You pretty much have to travel half the world away just to go do one, right?
that's for sure, especially with COVID. Southeast Asia is usually where I race, like the Philippines and Thailand. but everything was closed. So I had to travel like about 20 hours to get to mainland USA.
So, all right, outside
And
of Asia and the Philippines,
race.
are you breaking up?
Yeah, I think there's a lag, right?
Yeah, my internet's not the greatest now. I'm working off my hotspot, so my internet's down too.
We'll make it work.
Definitely. So, how often have you raced in the States, and what do you like about racing in the States?
So I've been to the States only twice. Last year, Oceanside 70.3 was my first race,
That's a good race.
and then Indian Wells was my second race. And I really enjoyed it. It was totally different. Yeah, it was so fun. So Oceanside was pretty fun because I had some was stayed and they kept us, and so I had a rhythm in terms of like people. There wasn't as many people on course and all that, but I really enjoyed it. There's a lot of things to do out there.
Um, Tell me, how much did those flights cost? I
Oh
mean,
gosh.
is it tax deductible too?
Um, if I claim it, I'm pretty sure, yeah, as a professional triathlete, but they're about 2 grand to get there. It's a lot higher now because of the gas prices.
Yeah, I definitely would say that. I mean, how long did the flight take to get to? You probably flew into Los Angeles, right? LAX.
So I flew through Hawaii, and then because of the time difference and the flights, I had to fly Diego, and in total, I think it was like a whole day.
Yeah, I mean, man, that I don't know. Is that frustrating for you? Like to be tied up in transit and like lose a whole day of your life to travel? How do you feel about that?
Um, I'm pretty new to me, so I like to explore. Even just being in the airport, I just like to kind of watch how people like interact with each other, or just try like the random foods and stuff. It's not that bad. I just get pretty tired.
Yeah. So tell me, when you go, I mean, I'm racing Roth, Germany next year, and it's a 6 hour
Awesome.
time difference, right? And
Yeah.
I've never had to deal with that big of a time difference. What's your suggestion to me about how to reset my sleep to be on their time and do it in a short amount of time? What's the secret?
Um, get on their clock. Get on their
Would you suggest
clock.
staying up the first night you get there, since you're
I'm
like 6 hours behind? Would it be worth staying up that night and
like
kind of starting over?
get on their time. So if it's 6 hours up, I sleep in as long as you can the next day and try to hydrate as well. Are you all right?
Oh, I'm here. I didn't move.
Yeah. So how is it like for you living with the brain injury? How did you get it?
I got hit by a car bike commuting to work. The Tahoe was hitting me head on, going about 60 miles an hour. The only bone
Wow.
I broke is a finger, but the brain injury has been. I
Yeah.
wouldn't wish it on
So you
anyone
hit your,
else. It's my cross to bear, but man, sometimes it's more than I can handle that day. So
yeah.
I just sit on the couch and wait for the next day to come and try again. So
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's pretty rough, but I'm so inspired that you're still like doing triathlon and doing all these interviews.
oh, I'm not as fast as I used to be. I hate that. I would love to be fast again. I want to go fast. It's just not happening.
Yeah.
But I've never worked with a coach before, and I got a slot for 2023 Roth. And I said,
Awesome.
I
Yeah.
look for a coach. I'm like, I'm definitely getting a coach for this race. I want to do good in this race. I can't
Yeah.
show up to an iconic race like that and, lay an egg and suck, right? I got to do good.
I love your competitiveness.
Some people do it for fun. I try to be competitive and do it for fun. But if I didn't have a competitive spirit, I don't know if I would be the same person, It's
Yeah.
part of my deep-seated personality traits. And sometimes it's good for you, other times it's harmful to you. It just depends what the situation is, right?
Yeah. But you love what you do, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's for the past 8 years, it's been a part of my identity, who I see myself as. I mean, for the most part, I had to give up my career as an architect. So, how people tend to define me when they look at me, they see me as a TBI survivor, they see me as a triathlete. And that's just, those are my two features of my identity. You know,
Mhm.
the, I I make do with a TBI survivor because I raise awareness, do all this stuff. The reason behind that is I felt alone for a very long time. I didn't
Mhm.
have anybody who understood me. I didn't have anybody who even gave me a try to understand me, like my fiance did. So I was living alone in silence, and
Wow.
I wanted to do that. Like I started my vlog project, and I'm up to 80 videos. I wanted to be that
That's
beacon.
awesome. Yeah.
I wanted to be that beacon for other people to know you're not alone. I've walked a mile in your shoes. It's going to be okay eventually.
Yeah.
So it's it. No one asked you if you want to change everything about your life, and that was a really tough pill to swallow because
Yeah.
I had just finished Ironman Chattanooga. I was planning to propose. I proposed in Chattanooga like 10 days later, right? While I'm
Mhm.
racing the run course, I'm visually planning out what I'm gonna do the entire weekend to make her happy, right?
Yeah.
And make it magical. I'm doing that the entire run too, and I'm walking more than I probably should have. So I had spare time. Things were good, and you know, I went through some dark times. But eventually you come through on the other side. It may take time, and it differs from person to person. And some
Mhm.
people, they never make it through. It's just always a perpetual misery for them. I feel bad for them, but you know, it part of doing this interview series. I also talk to neurosurgeons, neuroscientists, and I get and other TBI survivors, and sometimes people will unlock a door that solves a
Mhm.
mystery about who I am now, and I get an answer. Because when you get a TBI like this, you will always be left with far more questions than you'll get answers. Every time you get an answer, you
Mhm.
typically get four more questions from it. So when somebody that I interview says something and it resonates with me and it helps me understand something that I do or something about me, I get excited. It's therapy for me that I'm getting the answers that I need. And otherwise, if I didn't do this, I would have never got them. You know, I would have.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just want the answers. That's it.
Yeah.
You make do.
It's nice that you're moving forward every day instead of just I mean, there are dark times, but I'm glad you're getting out of it.
You know, not every day is a positive day. Some days you lose, but luckily,
Yeah.
when the sun sets and it comes up again, and you get a new one tomorrow. So try again,
Yeah.
right? If today sucked, tomorrow might not suck, but you get to start over, try a different way.
Yeah.
So, what is your training regimen like on the island? Can you give me
On
a
the
feel for
island.
like now? I checked out your athletes to find out some of your times. What kind of
Mhm.
distance do you see yourself primarily racing at?
Um, so currently I'm doing 70.3s, but we're transitioning to do some short course racing this year,
Okay.
which is pretty new to me, but I like shorter races. I mean, you don't feel overly exhausted the next day and doesn't take you a week to kind of recover from it. So
I feel you
I'm
on
kind of looking
that.
forward to that. I know. I don't know how so many people race back to back. I mean, I would love to. Yeah, in the near future.
I don't like racing back to back. I, at the very least, if I'm doing 70.3s, 2 weeks minimum. But the 2 weeks in between, they're light weeks. I don't push it. So
Yeah.
I just like to race and I like to travel. And when you're in the States, I like independent races. I'm not a fan of Ironman. I don't like the corporate feel from it. It seems pointless. I don't need it. I like independent races because it's got flavor. It's got the personality of the race director. It's fun. And you
Yeah.
know what? It's fucking cheap, and I don't like paying Ironman's prices. So, yeah, I've come
It
to
does
like,
get pretty pricey, but yeah.
yeah.
There's a lot
So,
of like local races, but also like the challenge races coming up, or there's a lot more like bigger, smaller races, if that makes sense.
yeah, it does. So, what are your plans for this year?
So I'll be racing Challenge Korea next or in 2 weeks time, and then I'll
Is
do
that
some
an old
short course
Ironman
racing.
race that they took over?
I'm not sure, but they've been challenged for a few years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, outside of the Asian races, you know, I have to ask you about those Asian races that you do. What's the atmosphere like? You know,
Oh, it's
I've
like
always got the impression that Asia oriented people, they just weren't into triathlon. Like, I remember when Ironman dropped 3 races in China, and they didn't get the response they were hoping for. You know, it was kind of a low turnout. I don't know if it's like
oh
that all over.
no, because if you go to like the Philippines to race, oh my gosh, it's so fun. The people are so like supportive and interested in the races and just interested in triathletes. Not like um it's really a party. Like I enjoy racing in like the Philippines and Southeast Asia so much because it's just fun. You do the race and it's hard, but like the after party and everything, everyone's just in having a good time and enjoying themselves.
Do they throw alcohol at the after parties too, or is that like one of those things
I
the
think
Philippines
they
is strict
have,
on?
yeah. There's alcohol like in the after parties and stuff, and it's just all fun.
That sounds pretty cool. I mean, you know, when I do Iron races here, if you call it an after party, it's like, meh. Athlete's Village sucks, but it's like, if you call this a party, then you know this feels like a fucking funeral home. You know?
Asia does it really well. I'm not sure about China. I've never raced there. But every other ones I've been to, they are pretty fun. Like even Japan, I thought it would be strict just because of their culture, but the after party, they got an MC from the States and like other international athletes were there. So it was really fun. Different culture, people drink, people don't drink. I don't know, it was just really fun. Yeah.
What's your favorite race to do so far? And what's your favorite race that you like to keep going back to do? Are they the same one or are they
Any
different?
uh I haven't raced much, but all the races I've done in the Philippines and in Thailand, I really enjoy them, and I see myself going back every year as long as it's open.
The thing about Asia for me is in America, we had this show called River Monsters. And the guy was an angler. He fished for all the largest fresh, most vicious freshwater fish and everything. I saw what he pulled out of the Mekong, man. It scares the shit out of me.
It's not that
I am too scared to get in the Mekong because I'm like, oh no, I know what's in there.
It's not that bad. Yeah, the ocean's like gorgeous for the most part. I think people would be surprised more with the weather. It's pretty hot and humid, so it's not an easy race.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like a jungle, but it's kind of like that kind of atmosphere, rainforest type stuff where they have monsoon season, right? So there's got to be humidity.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of humidity. It's not like the rainforest. There are buildings and stuff, but yeah, and there's nice roads.
Okay, so I'm going to get you out of here on this question. What's the race that you've done that you're not going back to do because you just didn't like the experience?
I haven't had a race like that so far, thankfully.
Well, man, you're lucky. I'm never going back to Ironman Maryland.
Oh, I've never done an Ironman, and I've also never really done much racing.
Do you want to do an Ironman eventually, or is that just something you don't have the desire to move up to?
Eventually I would love to.
Okay.
I'm just enjoying the shorter stuff right now, and
get done sooner.
yeah, for sure. Maybe less enduring, but I mean, I see myself doing a Ironmans in the future.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Can you tell me how I pronounce your name?
Manami.
The full name, because I'll say it in the intro.
Oh, Manami Iijima.
Okay. I'll try to remember that.
It's okay.
Remember that. It's on the video.
It's okay if you mess it up. There's so many people that mess it up, and I'm just laughing because it's a hard name. It's a Japanese name, but it's a hard name, and yeah. Totally fine.
Thanks again. Good luck to you. And I mean, we follow each other on Instagram, so I'll see all your latest and greatest.